Hi, this is Keith with Commanded Creation, and this is part 3 of the Revolutionists series. Today we're going to be discussing affirmations, what they are, and how they affect you in your life. So basically, all that affirmations are is a desired outcome, or just basically an outcome, that you get to by repeating certain phrases, certain things, writing them down by repetition that eventually lead you to act upon certain things. So, for instance, when a college student is studying for some sort of an exam, they really cram and they practice and they study and they, by repetition, learn whatever topic that they have to take this test for. And usually they get a pretty good grade after doing this for a while. However, we don't realize that we do this on an everyday basis. That's what's getting us the same results. That's what makes it look like we have the same days over and over again at certain periods in our life, where it seems to be a never ending Groundhog Day for a while, where everyone seems to be talking about the same things. Every day seems to be exactly alike, nothing changes, and it all stays the same. And it's because it's an autopilot almost where you don't even realize these thoughts and these actions that are taking place maybe that are leading you to get the same results in your life. And if you want to get better results in your life, you'll have to start doing affirmations. You'll have to actually start taking the controls a little bit before you can start going on autopilot again. Your body simply has been, or more specifically, your subconscious has been going on autopilot this entire time and giving you just the basics for survival, not necessarily giving you the best life that you could possibly choose for yourself. But as far as your subconscious is concerned, the choices that you've made and allowed it to make have kept you alive to this point. And that's where the frustration comes in because people like you and I will get to this point where like, why isn't this working? Why have I been trying to become wealthy all of these years? I've been studying as much as I can, and I just can't seem to break past this invisible barrier that's holding me back. And the reason why is because you have these ingrained walls in your subconscious that prevent you from doing new things. Because as far as your subconscious knows, everything it has done up to this point has kept you alive. Not great, but alive all the same. So affirmations are essentially you taking the reins of this, of your subconscious, and feeding it the information that you want to feed it to reprogram itself to start helping you get the results in life that you want. And of course, this isn't something where you just sit back and positively think all day long and something magically just occurs where you have a yacht now. That's not at all what happens. What happens, the process, is through doing repetition, through doing these affirmations, and I'll explain how you do them in just a minute. Through doing the repetition of them, you'll begin to start taking actions. And sometimes you won't even realize you're taking the necessary action to achieving these goals that you have for yourself. And that's the really cool, neat thing about it. So every single person that you know of that has accomplished anything in their life has been a direct result of doing affirmations in one way or another, whether that's in their head every morning, every night, doing this as a repetition, or just writing them on a piece of paper and reciting them every night and reading them off the paper. But there's many ways that you can do this. The most common way that people do their affirmations is to simply write them on index cards, put them in a stack, and read them. And that's pretty much all you have to do to really get started on affirmations is you write what your goal is, what you would like to achieve in life, the desired outcome you would like. So you may say, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm living in my gorgeous house on the beach, could be any beach, it doesn't really matter. Writing the specifics for your desired outcome. And as a result of reciting it night after night after night, um, as time goes by, you'll start to look back and realize that you've been making steps to achieve this. I know that for myself, when I started doing this, I realized that I was more open to taking classes and courses on investing. And that's just one path that I took. I know that many other people have had different things that they've done to achieve wealth through taking different forms of action. This might be completely different from what you'll do when you start doing your affirmations. So today's quote that I wanted to share with you is from Muhammad Ali. And he writes, "It's the repetition of affirmations that leads to belief. And once that belief becomes a deep conviction, things begin to happen." What he's talking about is what I was just talking about, actually, where through doing this by repetition, you'll begin to look back and realize you've been taking all of these small course corrections that get you to your desired goal, to your desired outcome, getting what you want in life. And this is the foresight thing that's kind of funny to look back and realize, wow, look at all of the actions and the steps that led me to getting to this place in my life where I now have this, or I now have that, or I now feel this way instead of this way. So a lot of people have really put their disbelief in affirmations and the results that they get because they were mistaught at one point that you can just sit back and just somehow magically, I guess, have affirmations work for you and you'll just see like a box of money in your front yard. I mean, it could happen. I'm not gonna lie. I've heard some crazy stories out there, but most likely it wouldn't happen for you. There are a certain amount of actions that you take to get to any part of your life. For instance, to get money in your life right now, you have to take a certain amount of actions to get in the car, drive to your work, drive home, come back home, prepare your lunch probably for the next day. You take all of these tiny actions that you don't even realize. The closest that I could bring up as an example is an airplane where it sets out for a certain course and it's set on autopilot because this computer has been programmed over time to get to a certain destination automatically. And how it does this is eventually, at some point or another, whether it's turbulence or some other weather condition, will set it off course. It will eventually, through minor deviation in actions, sway right back to where it should be and get to its destination. Eventually, I mean, the period of time is irrelevant. The faster you can make this all depends on you and your belief in these affirmations. That's another huge key of affirmations. And I know that you typically could have anything happen in a short amount of time, but for most people, that's very difficult. That takes a lot of patience and a lot of experience to build in that kind of belief in your affirmations. So you might want to start out with saying, let's say a raise, or maybe people being more nice to you. Test this out for a little bit to see for yourself and tweak this as you go because you build up that belief by doing this repetition and you'll begin to see, like Muhammad Ali said, you'll begin to see things. You'll begin to see things change. And eventually this will lead you up to choosing bigger and better goals for yourself, bigger and better outcomes for your life. And as you put more energy, as you put in more time, as you put in more passion and belief and feeling into these affirmations, and especially the more detail that you get into the specifics, writing them out in your affirmations, the more real it's going to feel to your subconscious, and therefore it's going to be quicker for yourself to believe in these affirmations. So your subconscious will actually be helping you to achieve these goals. It's a really cool process. So that's all that it comes down to, is that we have these barriers inside of us that have held us back, our programming that maybe we didn't choose for ourselves. I know that a lot of my negative beliefs about money didn't originally come from me. They were always outside of me, from family members or friends who said that it was the economy's fault, that it was so and so's fault, or it was so and so's corporation, or the government should come in and help people by giving grants and whatever else. And that was never true. I didn't realize or take the time to realize that it all depended on me and my belief in affirmations. And it wasn't years later, till probably around college years, until I actually started getting into affirmations and meditation and started realizing that I can reprogram my subconscious and get better results in my life, which ultimately led me to being able to quit my job and move to California, like I've told many of my students. And that's a huge deal. Where I'm from, nobody that I know of has moved outside of the state, and very little people have traveled outside of the state. Come from a small place in the middle of nowhere, Michigan, and it was quite an accomplishment for me, at least. to be one of the first people in my family to actually move out and make something of myself in a different state even. So that was huge for me, and that was one of my first desired outcome was first to get out of that environment because a lot of people, it just was this whole negative environment. And as soon as I moved, I felt a lot better. And as a result of that, I started aiming for bigger and better things for myself through my affirmations and my meditation. And I just saw these things happen. And what I mean by that is when I say that things happen, I actually did take the action. I took those minor adjustment actions and I was able to look back and go, my God, look at how many tiny course alterations I had to make to arrive at this destination here to actually get to this point. And it's really cool to sit down and actually look at that and trace back where it all started and all of the multiple crossroads that you come to that you chose one way where you could have gone another way and zagged. So it's just a really, really neat thing. The last thing that I want to mention here is that relevant action comes up as a result of you doing affirmations. When I say you take these minor pieces of action towards getting to a specific goal, it's relevant action. I've seen the difference between smacking your head against a wall and getting things done and taking inspired action, which is a result of doing affirmations and meditation. And I can tell you, it is severely easier compared to smacking your head against the wall, putting your shoulder to the grindstone and getting something done, compared to inspired action, inspired thought, like I was talking to you about, like I was talking to you about in earlier videos, that inspired place where thoughts and actions come to you that get you to somewhere way faster. Like my dad filling in the basement, for instance. Man, he really decided to take the time from that point on and really think about things outside of the box instead of just doing what seemed like the obvious solution. And that's really where these inspired actions will come to you from. After doing a repetition of your affirmations, you'll be given choices. You'll begin to see more actions that can be taken regardless of the one that's right in front of you, the most obvious one. And maybe that one will be easier or faster or even better than what the obvious solution to one of your problems is. And it's something really cool to look out for, and you'll begin to become aware of these things as they come up. So the first thing that I would like you to do is grab a stack of index cards or grab a long piece of paper and a pen or a pencil and write down 3 outcomes you would like to see in your life, whether that's becoming a millionaire, traveling to a new state or a new country, getting to meet new and incredible people, whatever the top 3 are that you've always wanted. I want you to write these out and every single day see if you can expand on them. See if you can daydream about them a little bit more and go, you know what? I think I would like when I have this thing or when I have this experience for it to be like this. And you write that down in more detail and expand these as the days go by. And you'll begin to see yourself taking action towards doing those things. If you become aware, you have to be aware of when these actions are presented to you. You can't just sit aside and go, well, by magic this is going to happen, and that's not at all how it works. You will be presented with the option of doing things maybe a little differently than what you have before, and I definitely suggest for you to take it at that angle, because if you go with the obvious solution to your problems, you're going to get the same results in your life that you always have, and I'm sure that you don't want that for yourself. I'm sure that you want much better things for yourself. So that's the first thing, is writing these down and progressing upon them day after day. The third thing that I want you to do is be aware. It's very simple. Just be aware. Look and see when these actions are presented to you. I want you to make a blank space right next to each one of these affirmations. And as a different option comes up for you to deal with a specific situation, write it down. If you can't come up with anything right away, that's fine. They'll come to you after you practice these affirmations enough. The success equation has always been thoughts plus actions equals something. Thoughts and actions. So I know that you're probably thinking, well, why can't I just take action? Why can't I take inspired action like what you're saying here, Keith, and cut out the middleman of all of these affirmations and taking this much time? Why couldn't I just, do what you did and take these investment courses and read personal development books and I don't know what else, but why can't I actually just do these things if affirmations eventually lead to just taking action, if that's all it means? It's because it's a very simple but mandatory process that is required for you to get results in your life. So far, your subconscious has been taking the reins and choosing specific thoughts that lead to specific actions, which lead to your specific results that you have today. So if you want to get started by living a better life, you're going to have to dig in and choose better thoughts for yourself through your affirmations. And repeat this to yourself as a process every single day and put in as much time as you can possibly afford into expanding these affirmations. That's why it's so important, is because your result is dependent on two things: your thoughts and your actions, not just your actions. And that's why it's so important. So this is Keith. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.